Alright, let's talk about how to fuse up some cakes. Probably one of the more common things you're going to have to do if you're shooting a consumer show, but definitely something good to know how to do. So, first we can see here's our Visco. This is a nice little 200 gram cake by Red Rhino, their Texas Outlaw brand. Really like it. It's nice red, white, and blue effect, no crackle. So we can see our Visco here. If you just kind of pull, it'll actually tear the tape down, and that's going to get you pretty close to that first tube where that goes in. So that's the first. If you're just going to use talons, definitely still try to get that fused. You can see how much time that would have taken to burn. So if this is as comfortable as you feel like being with doing any sort of prep for your show, and you have talons, you can take your talon and clip it right there, and that'll give it a pretty minimal delay when it goes off. I mean, it's still going to be, depending on how far that Visco has to go to get to the first tube, it's still going to take you a little bit for this item to fire. So it's not going to be instant, but if you're just a beginner getting into it, I would, certainly the farthest you can pull that fuse without pulling it out of the tube, that's just time you're saving. You're going to be a little more accurate. The next step, going to the next level, would be actually removing the cardboard, so you can get to that first tube. So we'll kind of do that here. I usually just cut a single slice, and that's usually enough that I can get my fingers in there and just pull away. Now when you're doing that, there's a couple of things to be careful of. One, you don't necessarily want to cut too deep, or you may cut some other fuse that's running around in there. So this one, you can see I sliced away this side, but that fuse actually comes over to this side. So usually you can just tear this away. It's such cheap cardboard, you can kind of just tear it away. And so there we can see this one goes down here. There's a little bit of tape I can remove as well. And so you can see when we had that cardboard on there, it was coming out about right here or so, and it really runs into the tube way down here. So you still would have had quite a bit of burn time. So again, if you're using talons now, this becomes your optimal place to attach that talon. You would clip that on right there, tape it down, and that would be not instantaneous, but about as instantaneous as you're going to get with a talon. Now, if you want to use E-match or I-match, you're going to have to go a little bit further and use a poke of some sort, a brass awl if that's all you can get your hands on, or you can get there's several places you can order a specialty poke like this. But you're just going to take it right where that fuse is and kind of twist and apply some force until you've got a big enough opening that you can insert your E-match or I-match. Now I usually see if I can pull that fuse out of there. This one I could. Not too difficult. So now I've got a nice big opening there for my E-match or I-match, so I can take this, shroud on, insert the whole thing into that tube, and then I would apply some tape. And that is going to give you instantaneous ignition of this item. Whenever that cue fires, whenever you hit the button, you are going to get this first tube immediately. So it's great for timing shows, things like that. It's very common. You'll see a lot of people do it. Again, there are some safety considerations. Not something, I don't have an actual match head on this I-match. If I did, I wouldn't be doing this indoors. There's a little bit of possibility that when you insert that match head in there, friction or static electricity could set that off. So when you're doing this outdoors, make sure that wherever the item is facing is away from you or anyone else nearby. If it's a fanned item, make sure no part of the fan is pointing towards you or anyone else as well. Very, very uncommon or unlikely that would happen, but better safe than sorry, as they say. It's a very common thing if you're doing this at home. Very wise to go ahead, remove this cardboard. You know, you can do all that. You can even poke the hole and just put a little bit of tape over it. If you use masking tape, just become my favorite. So at home, before the day of the show, you know, weeks, months in advance, however far you plan, you can remove all the cardboard, you can poke your hole, grab you a little bit of masking tape, just throw that over the opening. Why I like to use masking tape is when I get out to the field, masking tape is weak enough that I can just use that shroud and poke right through it. Now I still want to tape that over the top again so the match doesn't pull out. But putting that tape there beforehand, make sure that no powder falls out or anything like that. And then I can easily insert that match when I'm out in the field and I'm ready to go. So definitely a very common practice, something that you'll see people doing all the time. Just wanted to show that to anyone that hasn't done it. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And stay tuned for more videos. Thanks.